Hi, friends, and welcome to the Legend Fiction Show. I'm Dominic, founder of Legend Fiction, joined today by my good friend Sam Robb, who is the founder of Raconteur Press. Is that right, Sam?
No, 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 no.
No.
That's Ian McMurtry. I am simply a happy peon. I was abducted at LibertyCon last year along with my wife to work with them. But yeah, it's Ian McMurtry, otherwise known as Law Dog, who started it all off.
Fantastic. Well, you've now got a book, and I read the first part of Sigils. Um, Tell us about your new book, and where did the inspiration come from?
Inspiration's really easy. I like to go for walks around Pittsburgh. I've been doing that for a couple of years. I also like going down back alleys and through unusual places to try and figure out, try and see interesting things just to keep the walks interesting. Um, so Sigils is born out of the graffiti that I saw around Pittsburgh over the course of a couple of years. Just a bunch of things that kind of come together. But I would say the two biggest ones were under the 31st Street Bridge was a huge. This is like we're talking like a 20-foot, piling for the bridge that someone had somehow managed to draw a huge circle around with spray paint and across the top in French. Why French? I don't know, but in French it said, "This is not a door." And of course, I looked at that and I said, that is absolutely 100% a door. I have no idea what somebody was doing here, but that's absolutely a door. And the question was a door for what? And later on, I saw another bit of graffiti that said, "Who are you really?" That was all it was. It was scrawled on a bridge. "Who are you really?" And that led to those two things in conjunction led to my mind kind of churning and coming up with the idea that Pittsburgh. It's the city of bridges. We've got the three rivers. We actually have a fourth river, supposedly underneath the city,
I was
a
going to say, how do you get
glacial.
supposedly? Okay, under the.
Yeah, there's a glacial bed that runs under the city that has its own flow. Um, but we have these rivers, we have these bridges, we have these tunnels and stairs all over the city. And I'm like, yeah, this is the type of place that would have additional bridges or additional portals or additional openings to different realms, and kind of just went with that. So Sigils became the story of a young man finding that out in probably not a happy way by attracting the attention of something that he really shouldn't have.
Okay, how much can you tell us more about that?
Well, so James is a high school student. He is a graduating senior. He is looking forward to graduating and trying to figure out where his place is in the world. He thinks that it's going to be going to art school, and through the course of the book, his dreams get crushed, unfortunately. But he also finds basically a new calling in life. Uh, so he meets a girl who is strange and mysterious, uh, who also seems to find him interesting. He meets a Marine who is not so mysterious, but and he wishes that he never had to meet, but gets to know him, and together they end up dealing with this thing that has come through one of basically found a way into uh, James's dreams and is kind of pursuing him and stalking him through his dreams. And
And when you say a thing, it's like a horrible black predatory vampiric je ne sais quoi.
yeah, this is if you are familiar with legend, the legends of fairy and the fae and whatnot. There are a number of creatures that are that you've got the black dogs, catchy, various other uh, creatures that are and they're animals, they're hunters, but they have human intelligence. So this is a situation where he's not just dealing with some sort of animal or some sort of creature that's coming after him. It's something that specifically has identified him and has gotten a from very early in the book you can see has gotten a taste of his blood and wants more.
Yeah. How did you come up with that? How did you go from seeing um what is that? What's that line from the song? Signs on the tenement walls to uh black she predator stuff. Yeah, and then a young teen. Like how did you put those together?
I wanted here's ultimately right. I wanted to write the kind of book that teenage Sam would have liked to read. So I wanted some tension. I wanted some horror. I wanted a little bit obviously a little bit of a love interest there. I wanted some things that kind of just would have spoken to me as a teenager and specifically as a teenage boy. I wanted the call to adventure, the idea that you're growing up and the world is changing. It's becoming something different, and you don't know quite where you fit in, and you don't know quite what's going on yet. You think you do, but there's a lot of surprises there. And me being me, right? I couldn't just do a coming of age book or anything like that. I had to throw horrible demons and monsters and whatnot into it just to keep it interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Chase your character up a tree and then shoot monsters at him. Yeah, not rocks.
Exactly.
You live in Pittsburgh. Are you I don't haven't been there. You're a Pittsburgh boy born and bred and all? Is that part of your DNA?
Yep. Yep. I am a Yinzer. If you know anything about Pittsburgh, that's one of our words that we have here. We have a whole, like a lot of other places, we have our own little dictionary. Um, but grew up here in a little town called White Oak. Went to school at Carnegie Mellon University. Left for a couple of years to go out to California when I was in the Navy, but then came back because of family. And family is a big thing in Pittsburgh. That's actually something that I have had a couple of people comment on is that in the book, James has a very good relationship with his mother. She's a single mom. She's going through nursing school, trying to finish things up there while he's finishing up high school. And he's very supportive of her. She's very supportive of him. And I wanted to have that positive relationship there because family is important. I moved back to Pittsburgh because of family, my wife's family. We've raised our family here, and I think that's something that a lot of it's the cheap and easy way out to say like, oh yeah, here's so and so, he's from a broken family or she's from a broken family, and there's no support around her, so she's all alone. Um, in this book, actually, you've got James has a lot of support. Whether he admits it or not, whether he likes it or not, he's got family, he's got teachers, he's got friends, and they all kind of rally around him to help him deal with this situation.
What's been some of the responses so far? Have you had other people and have you had young people reading it?
I've had some folks that have told me that they enjoy it. Someone told me that it felt like a young Harry Dresden book, and
I could see that, yeah.
I I'm great. I'm flattered by that. I don't think my writing is nowhere near Jim Butcher's, who is an amazing man and one of my inspirations. Uh, but no, it's I've had a bunch of people tell me that they've read it, read it with their kids, and they've enjoyed it. They've talked about the situations and what goes on. There's nothing truly, I don't think, horrific in it. If your kids are watching Stranger Things, there's not going to be anything in here that's going to freak them out. So I'd go for more of a psychological horror rather than kind of a
Slasher horror thing.
gut wrenching
Yeah,
slasher
yeah.
horror. Yeah.
In developing the story, what's your method? What's your process? How did you go from, well, I've got my main character, I've got this compelling thing with sigils going on. I've got my bad guy. Then what? How do you go from those core elements to building it out to actually then writing the whole thing? What's that process look like for you?
I am a combination of a plotter and a pantser. So I've heard people refer to that as a plantser. Um, I've got milestones. I have ideas and scenes that I want to hit throughout the story. And I definitely had an ending in mind for Sigils. It turns out that that ending was not the ending because by the time I finished it, it was about 133, 135,000 words. So when I took it to Raconteur, they said, "Yeah, this is two books. So can we kind of split up?" So there is a sequel. I was working on that this morning, as a matter of fact. Um, and the end of the sequel is the original end of Sigils. But I have when I sit down to start writing, I will write these scenes that I like, these things that I have in mind that I'm like, okay, we've got this scene in the hospital, we've got this scene on a bus, got this scene, in this particular place, and then kind of organize those and think, okay, how do these connect? What happens in between these to make the story flow? Um, so, a lot of times I will have those big ideas. Here's the opening. Here's a couple of scenes. Here's the climax. Here's what I want. I write those, and then I sit down and go, okay, now what happens in between? What drives the character from this scene to this scene? Who impacts them? What influences them? And what happens? Because you know life is not 100% high tension, high stakes, no matter what very movies want to tell you. There's always downtime. There's always time to think and to reflect, even if it's just a few moments. So I try and put that together and build the story out of those big elements with some softer or slower bits in between.
Yeah, amazing. For the story nerds, or mostly the people watching this live stream, this show, are there frameworks that you follow, or have you created some of your own? Um, yeah, that help you just get through something, or do you field test it against a couple of different ones? How do you do that?
One of the things that was interesting when I started looking into understanding, how do these, all these different frameworks. So you've got 3 act structure, 4 act structure, save the cat, all these different plotting techniques. Um, I was trying to wrap my head around all of that until I finally found a web page where someone, and I've got it saved away for reference, someone did that already and basically came up with, here's the grid and here's all the different story organizational techniques, plotting techniques, and here's how they all map out. And when you're talking about this term or this scene in this kind of plotting mechanism, it maps to this point in this other one. And once I saw that, I was like, oh, they're all the same. They're pretty much, you've got the same beats in the same places. They call them different things, or they might split up one particular scene or one act into 2 acts in this structure, but then they'll have, yeah. So once I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, it doesn't really matter what I choose or what I work with. So for the sequel to Sigils, I'm working with Save the Cat, just because I tend to think a little more cinematically. I have this movie in my head that's running as I write, um, and it kind of fits with what I want to do a little bit better for an action oriented book. If I were doing something else, I might pick like a 3 act structure if I was going for more of a traditional play. But yeah, for me, it's more about understanding where those key points are in the story. You're going to have the rising action, that you're going to have the introduction of secondary characters or a secondary plot, that you're going to have the midpoint where things shift, and then you have the Dark Night of the Soul. It's about three-quarters of the way through, where can I do this? Can I make this happen? And am I going to continue, or am I going to walk away? All of those together, if you think about that, those are those are the fun scenes. Those are the ones that I already want to write anyways. So kind of get those out of the way and then figure out how to put them together.
So it sounds like what you definitely don't have is a problem with a soggy middle where it gets boring and you feel like you're grinding through it to get to all the fun parts. What I read was just so fun and fast paced. I imagine that sounds like you kept that up all the way through.
I tried. I tried. The you do have problem. The middle is always a problem, right? Because you've got this long period of, hey, I need to show some action. I need to have some fun. Um, so for Sigils, I think it was easier for me because if you think about it, right, I've got this thing haunting James in his dreams, so I got to have some fun playing around with dream landscapes. With the idea of like, oh, okay, here he is in a library. Here he is in one of his favorite streets in Pittsburgh. Pull all these things together and kind of combine it with all the things that can go wrong in your dreams, right? When you try and open the door and it won't open, when you try and run against the wind and for some reason you can't make that happen. um, so I have some fun playing with all of that and make that all work together.
Um, you mentioned Pittsburgh. It sounds like you've grounded the story very realistically in Pittsburgh. Like, could you run a tour at some point of the locations your character ran through? Were you that attentive to details, or are you a little looser about that?
I was a little loose in some regards, but for the most part, uh, no, I could walk you through. I could show you. I could show you the bridge where James and Meg meet. I could walk you through the across the trails and the path that Meg takes to find the abandoned building that she takes up residence in. The strip is it's part of Pittsburgh. It's a very significant part of Pittsburgh, and I can show you where they have pizza, where they have coffee,
That's so cool.
where yeah. It was a lot of fun. So there is a little bit of like, oh, maybe it's not quite that far to get from one place to another, or maybe this coffee shop really isn't there, but there's another one. But I tried to make make Pittsburgh part of the story, because to me that's what urban fantasy is about. The city, the character of the city is part of the story.
That's so cool. Um, well, in our last 10 minutes, I've got a list of quickfire questions that I want to try to annoy you with. But first, what was something that, as you're crafting this book, I imagine you had to do some sort of research. What was the most unusual thing that maybe you learned while you were crafting this book or researching for it?
Um, Dreams. I had to understand, okay, what are common dreams, what are common tropes in dreams. One of the fascinating things I came up with that I found out about dreaming is that most of the time when you're in a dream you cannot read. The part of your brain that processes written language shuts down, and that's kind of interesting, because there were points where I intentionally allowed James to read in the dream, knowing that this is an indication that he's gone from normal dreaming to something else, which was actually a little subtle. I'm not sure that everybody would get it, but yeah, the idea that, and not only that I had to do that research into dreams, but that made it into the book as him doing that research into dreams to try and understand what's going on with him and understand the rules of
Cool.
this strange world that he found himself in.
That's so cool. Ah, dreams and dream work is a um, pet topic of mine. I'm absolutely fascinated by it. Actually, just started yesterday. I wrote 2 chapters in a novel that I don't know if I'll finish, but literally about um, kind of a Nolan take on migrating dreams that migrate across minds. I don't know where it goes. Seems crazy fun.
That sounds awesome.
All right. Well, let's get into some of these questions. Make sure we get some of these in. Okay. You can either answer really short. You can go as long as you want, or you can say skip. So, recent movie that you've watched.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen a movie. I honestly think one of the last ones that I saw was one of the Avengers movies.
Okay. Okay. So you haven't seen Stranger Things.
No, I've watched a couple of episodes kind of going on in the background while my daughter's been watching it with her fiance, but no.
Okay. Recent book. It's the latest book you've read.
Oh, A Pitiless Reign, Glenn Cook.
Okay.
So I'm still working my way through that, but I love Glenn Cook, and he's just a fantastic writer, and really enjoy his Black Company stuff. So I've been looking forward to this.
Nice. What's your number one writing habit to get in the zone?
My wife, this is a new one. This is a new one. My wife got me a an automatic coffee maker. I'm a little bit of a coffee snob, not huge. I like
You're in
fresh
safe
ground
company
coffee.
here.
So she got me a coffee maker that you put the beans in and it does the grinding and but the thing for me that I love about it is I can schedule it for like 7 o'clock.
Well, that's nice.
So I get up, you know, by the time I make it downstairs, there's coffee, and I can literally grab the pot of coffee, the carafe, and grab my coffee mug and come upstairs and pour a cup of coffee and sit down and write and start writing. And the last 2 days that has been have been the first chance I've had to really do that, and it's just been phenomenal. I'm like, this is awesome. I come upstairs, I close the door, I've got my coffee here, I've got my computer here, I can just write. The dog comes in, sits up, lays down at my feet. It's awesome. I love it.
I mean, talk about an incentive to not sleep in then, huh? That thing's going off and then it's going
Oh
to
yeah,
cool off on its own.
it's waiting for me. It's right
Yeah.
there, and the smell fills the house. So it's like I wake up, I'm like, yeah. So
That is the best. That is the best. What or who gives you inspiration for writing?
my wife does, and not in the lovey-dovey, ooh, honey, I believe in you sort of way. Although she does that, right? She's incredibly supportive, but she will occasionally like show me something or say something or whatever, and then she listens to me as I let my little brain squirrels just run away, and then she does the most important thing she can do for me, which is she stops me and she looks me in the eye and she says, "Write that down." So, I've got a document that's full of all of these random ideas that I just kind of stream of consciousness come out while we're walking or talking or whatnot, and she's like, "Write that down." So whenever I have to go back and I'm like, "Oh, I need to write a story about a fireman," and oh, that's right, we were talking about this, and I can go look it up. So she inspires me to think and to come up with these and to write them down so that I actually can use them.
That's cool. I could see I could see you going, don't ask me a question unless you're wearing a wire. What's one thing that you regret spending money on?
Oh, wow. That is a hard question because I have regretted spending money on things. Um, I would say, and apologies to any of the fans out there, uh, I bought a Chromebook a couple of years ago to use as a writing laptop, and stunk. Hated it. It was the keyboard. It was one of the best keyboards that I think I've used in a long time, but the actual machine itself was underpowered. Required a network, obviously. All the stuff that I None of the stuff that I wanted to use to write was on it. Um, so I ended up going out and getting a MacBook Air, and about 5 6 years ago, and it was no looking back. It's awesome.
Nice,
So
nice.
use your Macintoshes.
What's a book you wish more people knew about?
I'm going to name a couple. One is Changeling by Doris Pacercia. She died recently. I regret that I never got a chance to meet her. Um, she is a was a fantastic writer, and that story, um, if you read it, you're like, man, this is like people going from world to world, and monsters, and intrigue, and this
Okay.
whole plot, convoluted stuff, and it's like 140 pages. I mean, you want to talk about something that just goes bang, 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 bang. It's fantastic. Um, and then the other one is Godstock by PC Hodgel, which is, again, it that is 100% urban fantasy. My definition of urban fantasy is that the city has to be a character. Ty Tastagon in that book is an unbelievable character, and I recommend that book to just about everybody that I can uh, come across that is willing to read fantasy.
Amazing. You've said that now twice, and I'd like to come back and ask you about this sometime, but we're out of time. Where you talked about the city being a character in the story. Um, Side note: have you ever read or heard of Robert Moss when it comes to the topic of dreaming?
I don't think so.
No. Okay, he's somebody I discovered a year ago, and absolutely love this guy and what he does. Okay, we got to start wrapping up. So where can yep, Scott is in the lobby, so I'm going to bring him in a minute, and you two can say hi and so on. But Sam, where can folk find you online and get their copy of Sigils?
You can find me online at samrobwrites.com. That's SAMROBB writes.com. And that has links to all of my other social media. Most of the places that I am on, you can find me at, the handle Sam Rob Writes. So and then you can find all my books on Amazon. There's Sigils. I've got a collection of flash fiction called One October Night, a bunch of short novels, and then I should have a another book coming out with Celine Press a little bit later on this year. So I'm really excited about that one. That is just a fantastic book. That's another world that I've always wanted to write in, and it's much more of a dark gothic fantasy. So I'm really looking forward to that one coming out.
Man, talk about saving the best for last. You just have to come back, and I'd love to hear about where that goes when you're ready to talk about it.
All right.